teach that Karen a lesson. Arrest her. People like her don't deserve freedom. Those were just a few of the voices tearing her apart online, all because she stepped in when a group of TikTokers were humiliating an old man and calling it a prank, all for views, and she refused to walk away. But instead of appreciation, the internet made her the villain. Strangers demanded she be fired, punished, erased. Her inbox flooded with threats and insults that shattered every bit of peace she had. And the next morning, police officers showed up at her door with news she never expected, something that would change everything for her. Hi, and welcome to Unveiled Whispers. Let's begin. The hiss of the espresso machine broke the quiet morning as Emma slid a fresh cup across the counter. "Here you go, sir. One regular, no sugar, right?" she said, already knowing the answer. The old man smiled the way people do when someone remembers something small but meaningful. "That's right. You've got a good memory." He tucked $1 into the tip jar, gentle, precise, like everything he did, then headed toward his usual bench beneath the sycamore tree. He moved slowly, settling in with the comfort of someone who'd done this many times before. A small packet of birdseed came out of his pocket, and within seconds, pigeons gathered around him as if they'd been waiting. He wasn't there every day, but enough that Emma recognized the quiet rhythm of his routine. From behind the cart window, she watched him for a moment, a calm scene tucked inside a busy park. At 23, Emma Cole was only 2 months out of college, a diploma she was proud of, loans she couldn't ignore, and a job search that hadn't gone anywhere yet. The coffee stand wasn't her dream, but it paid her rent, kept her moving, and gave her something steady while she figured out what came next. The park moved in its usual rhythm. Dogs, runners, strollers, all passing without a second thought. Nothing suggested how quickly the calm would break. Emma straightened a few napkins, her gaze drifting to the old man out of routine. He sat the way he always did, quietly minding his own peace. Then 3 boys appeared, mid-20s maybe, loud in a way that made people turn, phones out. One of them swung a camera around like it was part of his arm. They dropped onto the same bench, squeezing in on either side of the old man. At first it looked harmless, kids joking, maybe chatting. But then one of them leaned too close and said something Emma couldn't hear. The old man smiled politely, tried to shift over. They didn't move. The tallest one pointed at the cup in his hand. "Hey, what's that, sir? Let me check if it's drinkable," he said, already reaching. He took the coffee, exaggerated a sniff, and passed it to his friend. "Smells burnt, man." The second boy took a sip and spat on the ground, laughing. "Yup, needs more sugar." They passed the cup back toward the old man, half empty now, foam dripping down the side. "Guess you didn't need this anyway, huh?" the first one said, and tipped the last of it onto the pavement with a shrug. The old man stood, startled. "Hey, that's enough. Give it back." One boy shoved a phone right into his face, so close the lens nearly touched his cheek. The third lifted his camera higher. "Relax, it's a prank. You're trending already." That was when their real intent showed. Not comedy, not fun, but cheap humiliation dressed up as content. Cruelty for views. They didn't want to laugh. They wanted a reaction they could monetize. The boys leaned in even tighter. "Come on, old guy, get mad," one whispered loud enough for the mic. "Dude, look at his eyes. This is perfect," another snickered. "Don't move, Grandpa. We need the thumbnail." They blocked him each time he tried to stand, cutting off his space, trapping him on the bench like he was part of their set. The old man's hand shook around his cane. His voice cracked when he said, "Please, just stop." That was enough. Emma dropped the rag on the counter and crossed the path, her steps quick. "Hey, leave him alone." The tallest boy turned, grinning. "Whoa, we got a hero now?" He aimed the camera toward her. "We're filming, Lady Chill. It's a prank." "Does he look like he's laughing?" Emma's voice was firm. "You already took his coffee. Back off." One muttered, "We'll buy him a new one. Calm down," with the same mocking smile. But still, none of them moved. When the camera swung closer, she reached out, grabbed the phone by its corner, and pushed it away. It slipped from his hand and fell into the grass. Silence, then fake outrage. "Yo, she smashed my phone. You saw that," the guy barked. Emma blinked, breath sharp. "Stop recording him." The old man stood frozen, eyes wide, not knowing where to look. The boys backed up, still filming with another phone. "You're done," one sneered. "Wait till TikTok sees this." They laughed and walked off. Still recording, Emma turned to the old man. "You okay?" He nodded faintly, voice thin. "Thank you, miss." But the damage was already done. The boys had filmed enough to turn the whole moment against her. She bent down, picked up the empty cup, and walked back to the cart. "Let me get you a fresh one," she said gently. The old man followed her with small, unsteady steps. He seemed embarrassed, as if he were the one who had caused trouble. She made the new coffee quickly and handed it over without charging him. He hesitated, thumb pressed to the lid. "I'm sorry you had to step in," he said quietly. "Some people forget how to treat others." Emma shook her head. "You didn't do anything wrong." He gave a faint smile, nodded once, and returned to his bench. He stayed only a few minutes, feeding the birds in silence, shoulders still tight, then tossed the empty cup and slowly made his way out of the park. Emma watched him disappear down the walkway, wishing the morning had stayed simple. She drew a long breath and headed back to the cart, unaware that this moment was only the beginning. By late afternoon, shadows stretched across the park as families headed home and joggers drifted away. Emma started closing up the cart, stacking cups, wiping down the metal surface. That's when she noticed it. Stares. Not loud or confrontational, just lingering. Two teens passed by, whispering and glancing back with smirks. A mother tugged her son away after he pointed and said, "Mom, that's the lady from the video." Emma froze for half a second. What video? Near the fountain, another kid snickered. "Dude, she looks just like that Karen lady." His friend nudged him, laughing. "Bro, same haircut and everything." Emma frowned, confused more than concerned. She hadn't checked her phone all day. Between spotty park service and nonstop work, she barely touched it. Whatever they were talking about, it had to be some mix-up, some online joke she hadn't seen. She shook it off and kept packing. By the time she reached her apartment, a small third-floor unit with chipped paint and a stubborn door, the sky had turned deep blue. She flicked on the light, dropped her keys on the counter, and finally reached for her phone. It buzzed the moment she touched it. Then again. Then again. Notifications rolled in so fast, the screen froze. Tags, mentions, strangers' usernames she'd never seen in her life. At the top of the feed was a video posted by the boys, only 30 seconds long. Cut to make her look like a raging stranger grabbing a phone and yelling at innocent creators just trying to film. No old man in the frame, no spilled coffee, no harassment, just her, stepping forward, grabbing at the camera. The caption read, "Karen attacks us for filming. Someone find her." And the comments were brutal. "Crazy lady. Who does she think she is? Fire her. Hope someone teaches her a lesson." Each line sank deeper than the last. Strangers furious at her, all because of a lie, edited to look like truth. Emma's stomach dropped. Her hands went cold. She opened her DMs next, and the wave there was even worse. People cursing her, mocking her, threatening her. Thousands of strangers convinced she'd attacked harmless boys. They didn't know the old man, didn't know the spilled coffee, didn't know the quiet panic in his eyes when he realized they wouldn't leave him alone. They only saw what the pranksters wanted them to see, and they unleashed everything on her. Some messages tore into her appearance. Some told her to disappear. Some hoped she'd lose her job, and some were darker. The kind of typed things no one had ever said to her in her life. Words that made her chest tighten and her throat close. Then came messages from people she actually knew. Not hateful, but the kind that hurt just as much. The more she scrolled, the worse it became. Someone had screenshotted her old resume photo and posted it. Another tagged her neighborhood. Another wrote, "She lives on the west side. Be careful if you're around there." Her breath hitched. Strangers talking about where she lived felt different, darker, closer. A tear dropped onto her screen, then another. She didn't bother wiping them away. Emma didn't eat dinner. She didn't shower. She didn't move from the floor. She just scrolled, through cruelty, through lies, through a storm she hadn't asked for and couldn't stop. Hours later, exhausted and shaking, she finally pressed deactivate account. The screen faded to black. but the world outside the screen hadn't finished with her. Hours blurred together in a kind of numb stillness, the kind that sits on your shoulders and doesn't let go. Outside, the sky slowly shifted toward pale gray, and morning arrived long before she felt ready for it. She woke before dawn, her phone still lying beside her like something heavy she didn't want to touch. She sat on the floor again, arms wrapped around her knees, and the same relentless thoughts pressed in on her. How am I supposed to show my face at work today? What if someone records me again? Who would ever hire me after this? The questions didn't stab anymore. They throbbed, slow, constant, exhausting. She dressed without looking in the mirror and moved like someone bracing for another hit. Outside, the morning was normal in a way that felt almost cruel. She imagined every stranger's eyes lifting from a phone screen and recognizing her. Then a sudden knock shattered the quiet. Another followed, harder, urgent, the kind that demanded the door be opened. Emma froze. Her heart kicked up painfully. For a split second, she thought, is this still about the video? Am I in trouble for defending someone? She kept the chain on and opened the door only a few inches. Miss Cole, a calm voice said, "Police, we need you to come downstairs for a moment." Relief didn't come, only confusion and a colder kind of fear. She unhooked the chain with shaking fingers. 2 officers stood there, not aggressive, but unreadable. "Ma'am," one repeated, "you're not in any trouble. We just need you to step outside with us." She slipped on her shoes, barely tied them, and followed them down. Her legs felt like they didn't belong to her. The stairwell echoed too loudly with each step. Outside, the morning had changed. Police cruisers lined the curb. Blue lights flashed in soft pulses against the buildings. A few neighbors lingered at a distance, whispering. And then she saw them. The boys, the same ones who laughed and filmed and poured out an old man's coffee, now stood in handcuffs beside a patrol car. No swagger, no smirks, just 3 pale, shaken faces trying not to meet anyone's eyes. For the first time since yesterday, Emma's lungs filled all the way. Not joy, just a small, stunned breath that didn't hurt. The sight of them, suddenly restrained and ordinary, made a raw part of her loosen. Not relief, not triumph, just the quiet uncoiling of something that had been held too tightly overnight. One of the officers beside her spoke gently, almost as if switching tones just for her. "Ms. Cole, he'd like to speak with you." Emma followed his gesture. A few steps away, near the back of a cruiser, stood the old man from the park. The same careful hands, the same slow posture, but his face carried a seriousness she hadn't seen before. He wasn't holding birdseed today. He wasn't just another customer. He stepped forward. "Ms. Cole," he said, voice calm but firm. "I'm sorry you're seeing all this so suddenly." Emma swallowed. I don't understand. What's happening?" He nodded once, gently, like someone easing into difficult news. "My name is Harold Mercer," he said, "retired Superior Court judge." The title hit her before the meaning did. Judge, the quiet old man who fed pigeons. He continued, soft but unwavering. "I saw the video last night, the one they posted about you." His jaw tightened. "I know harassment when I see it, and I know manipulation even faster." Emma looked down, heat rising behind her eyes. "I didn't want any of this," she whispered. "I just didn't want them hurting you." "I know," he said, and there was something almost fatherly in it. "And because of that, because you stepped in when no one else did, I knew I needed to step in now." He explained he'd gone to the police immediately, requested access to the park's CCTV cameras, filed an official statement, provided his own account of the incident, and demanded an investigation into the boys' targeted harassment, recording without consent, and incitement. "They didn't just humiliate me," he said quietly. "They tried to destroy you." Emma's throat tightened. "I don't want anyone destroyed." "No," he agreed. "You want the truth, and today, you will have it." An investigating officer approached them, addressing Emma directly, respectfully. "Ms. Cole," he said, "we have their unedited footage as well as the park cameras. Everything supports your side. The boys have admitted to intentionally editing the clip in a misleading way." Emma's breath caught. The truth existed. Someone finally saw it. The investigating officer continued. They are facing charges for harassment and creating a public disturbance. As for defamation, that is your choice, if you want to pursue it. Emma shook her head slowly, overwhelmed. I don't want a lawsuit. I just want people to stop believing what they posted. Judge Mercer stepped closer, his voice lowering with sincerity. That's exactly what we'll do. He turned to the officers. Have they agreed? One officer nodded. Yes, sir. The judge explained to Emma. The boys will post the raw, full, uncut footage on their own TikTok account today. They will tag you, apologize, and state clearly what really happened. If they refuse, he gave a small shrug. Then we move forward legally. Emma blinked through the sting in her eyes. This wasn't revenge. It wasn't cruelty. It was fairness. She breathed out shakily. Okay, I agree. That's enough for me. The judge smiled, a small, warm one, the kind old men give when they're proud. Good, he said gently. You deserve for the world to see who you really are. And as the officers loaded the boys into the cruiser, the morning felt different, like the beginning of something being repaired. The boys posted the full video before noon. Emma wasn't refreshing anything. She didn't even open the app, but her phone buzzed anyway. Texts, calls, screenshots. A flood she didn't have the strength to face, not yet. It was Judge Mercer who called her first. Emma, he said gently, you may want to see this. She hesitated, then opened the link he sent. There it was, posted on the boy's own account. No cuts, no edits, no missing pieces. Every second of the truth. Them cornering the old man. The stolen coffee. The mockery. And at the top, written by the boys themselves. We lied. We edited the clip to make Emma look aggressive. We harassed an elderly man and she tried to protect him. We're sorry. Comments exploded instantly. At first, confusion, then shock, then anger. At them. You posted a lie? She was defending him? You ruined her life for views? By evening, the tide had completely turned. Sponsors pulled out. A brand announced it was freezing their partnership. One boy posted through tears, trying to explain. Another shut off his comments. The third deleted his entire page. Emma didn't smile. Not exactly. But something inside her loosened. The knot of guilt, fear, shame, all unraveling, as truth finally did what truth does when it has room to breathe. Her phone buzzed again, this time from people she knew. Emma, I'm so sorry. I should have asked you first. I can't believe they did that to you. Are you okay? Do you need anything? She did cry then, not out of pain this time, but out of release. The world wasn't fixed, but it had stopped crushing her. The next morning, when she stepped outside later, someone from her building, the same woman who avoided eye contact the day before, stopped her and said quietly, I'm glad the truth came out. A stranger at the corner store nodded at her. Someone else held the door longer than usual. Little things, good things. A world slowly correcting its course. Judge Mercer reached out again, with an envelope this time, handed to her at the park bench where everything had begun. It's nothing dramatic, he said, almost shy. Just something I thought might help. Inside was a neatly typed letterhead, official, formal, signed with a familiar name, a glowing recommendation. Not generic, not polite, but personal. He had written about her courage, her integrity, her willingness to defend a stranger when others stayed silent, and at the bottom, I would trust Ms. Emma Cole with any position requiring judgment, character, or public responsibility. Harold Mercer, retired Superior Court judge. Emma looked up at him, stunned. I don't know how to thank you. You already did, he said gently. You reminded me that kindness isn't outdated. He cleared his throat, almost bashful. My daughter works at a non-profit, community outreach. They're looking for someone dependable. I took the liberty of sending your resume. They'd like to meet you. Emma covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes burning all over again. Not from sadness, from the feeling that maybe, finally, something was beginning. A week later, Emma stepped out of the nonprofit's office building with a smile she hadn't felt in months. She had the job, not a dream job, a meaningful one. Work that mattered, with people who saw her, not a manipulated clip. Her phone buzzed again, but now with something warm, a message from Judge Mercer. How did it go? She typed back, I got it. Thank you, truly. And as she walked toward the park, toward the bench where a quiet old man often fed pigeons, she realized the world hadn't just stopped hurting her, it had started healing her. One honest video, one elderly stranger, one act of courage she thought had ruined everything, had instead changed her life. If you stayed till the end, you're the kind of viewer who appreciates meaningful stories, so don't leave without hitting like and subscribing. It helps the channel, and it helps these stories reach more people. And if you want more powerful narrative stories, the next video is already waiting for you on screen. Go watch it. You'll love where it takes you.